Well, Dan Gilbert apparently made a commitment to LeBron James that he would pay whatever it costs to win a championship. They got it a couple of years ago. Now they have sent Kyrie Irving to Cleveland. And guys, there's still a lot of salary cap issues here, Sekou, and LeBron James has the ability to be a free agent next year, and that's going to be the big elephant in the room all year.
Yeah, I don't think they're issues so much as they are situations you're going to have to deal with, but you're going into it prepared. You know, I think the real linchpin of this entire deal is that 2018 draft pick. If you're Cleveland, this deal can't happen without that security on the back end of this. Because not only is LeBron a potential free agent, you know, Isaiah Thomas is potentially, you know, off this roster at some point, you know, next summer. So you need to have something that you can hold as a piece to build on. And having an unprotected pick gives you at least the promise of what that could be in next summer's draft.
And maybe you even use that 2018 first-round pick that belongs to the Nets to improve yourself before this trade deadline.
Look, one of the big things Boston came out of this was financially they came out on the better end of this deal because they got Kyrie for 2 years. The money's locked in. It's great money considering where the dollars are right now for an all-star point guard the way he is. So for 2 years, you can try to convince him why he should sign and come back for many more years. On the other hand, if Boston didn't do this deal, they would have to face the music with Isaiah Thomas. How much would you be willing to pay this size guard? He's an all-star, but how many years would you commit to him at what kind of money?
On the wrong side of 30.
That's not their problem anymore. Now it shifts over to the Cavaliers.
The other part about this for Cleveland, I think, that we shouldn't overlook is the luxury tax savings that they have now by making this deal. We're not talking about gas money here. We're talking in upwards of $29 million in luxury tax savings by making this deal because you move around Kyrie's big contract. You know, it's not there anymore. Isaiah Thomas, like I said, off the books technically next summer, gives you a lot more flexibility depending on what you do going forward, Coach, without being hamstrung with that extra money you'd be paying in luxury tax.
WNBA fans were moments away from the Stars and the Sparks. Quickly, though, LeBron James has been kind of the de facto point guard on this team, having Kyrie play off the ball. Can Isaiah Thomas play that similar role?
He's going to have to learn how to fit in and play with LeBron James, which is going to be a new thing for him. He's so used to dominating the ball, so used to taking the big shot with the shot clock running down. That's what makes LeBron so great. He makes those decisions and is usually right with that. So it'll be this early lesson for Isaiah in training camp, watching LeBron, watching video, talking with LeBron to figure out where do I fit in. And I would imagine Isaiah would say to LeBron, tell me what you need me to do. Tell me how I can best play and help this team win.
I think one of the other things that sticks out about how this Cleveland group will function is it's a much more veteran group. And Isaiah Thomas, they're absorbing another veteran, another guy who's been around the league long enough to know he may have to sacrifice some of the individual parts of his game for the greater good, playing with the Cavaliers in ways that he didn't have to in Boston because he was dragging a much younger group along with Al Horford and a couple of the veterans, but a much younger group in terms of the backcourt players he was playing alongside.
And one thing for Isaiah that I think he's smart enough to realize this, he may be the guy that brings harmony to this Cavaliers team. That pressure won't be there. The tension won't be there. He comes in. He seems to be a fun guy to play with. He seems to say the right things. He's well thought out when he has a statement to make. And he plays hard. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He wants to prove something. And this might be just the right piece to get them back to the finals.
Man, you know, I'm flying across the country and I'm getting the news on the plane. Shout out to my man, No ID, for hitting me on about the news I didn't know. I'm still in the airport, as you hear. But, I mean, it's everything I love and everything I hate about the NBA, the trade. Everything I love and everything I hate. I love the fact that, you know, teams are making moves, guys are changing places. But I hate the fact that you would trade a guy who played 2 days after his sister died for you. Like, to me, that's just epic. I just can't understand. And it stinks. That's what I hate about the league. And you talk about guys not having loyalty and things of that nature. I love Danny Ainge. I love the Celtics and what they've done. But there's no way I could fathom that part so you could pull the trigger. That's what I hate about the NBA.
Kenny, there are so many layers to this deal, and several of them involve LeBron James. Can he reach an 8th straight NBA Finals? Will he remain in Cleveland beyond this upcoming season? How do you think this deal will impact LeBron's future?
Well, they took the best player off the second best team in the East and put him on his team. So I don't think it impacts, his decision, because I don't know if the Boston Celtics are going to be better than the Cleveland Cavaliers, but they definitely could be back where they were. But the Cleveland Cavaliers are still the team to beat in the Eastern Conference anytime you have LeBron James. LeBron holds all the cards. I mean, there's no team in the East that is equipped to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, regardless of who's there right now. He is the dealer. He's the house. He's Vegas.
Well, the asset collector in the NBA had been Danny Ainge, and he had been holding on tightly to the final piece of that epic deal with the Nets from a few years ago, and now he has traded it to Cleveland. Do you think Danny Ainge finally gave up the right piece to acquire the right player?
Well, I'm not sure if it's not just a parallel move. I mean, you went to the Eastern Conference Finals, so I'm not sure how parallel is. Obviously, it's debatable if Kyrie and Isaiah. I think that's the debatable trade in terms of talent-wise and what it does for your team. Obviously, it puts Cleveland in a better place because not only do you have a guy who could do it now, but you have a 2018 piece that comes in as well. So if LeBron James is looking at having some young guys along with some veteran leadership, he's got everything there in Cleveland now.
But Kenny, in a vacuum, if you look at what Danny Ainge did, giving up essentially Isaiah Thomas, Avery Bradley, and Jay Crowder, plus the unprotected 2018 Brooklyn first-round pick in exchange for a pair of all-stars, Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward. Do you think Danny Ainge, just in a vacuum, looking at what he gave up and what he's getting back, how do you evaluate that? Well,
again, it's everything I love about basketball. When you look at it on paper, you go, what a hell of a deal, and how they pull it off. But everything I hate, I could not fathom that a guy who played 2 days after the death of his sister gets traded in the offseason. He's the reason why you have flexibility. He's the reason why people even paid attention to you last year and a half, and you trade him. That part is what I hate about NBA basketball, because here's a guy that he gave it. When you're talking about giving your blood, sweat, and tears, like he gave all three and more, and that's the part I hate.
Yeah, he certainly did. It was an effort to remember in Boston for many, many years to come. But now, opening night, he'll play for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and it's 8 weeks from tonight. We look forward to seeing you on TNT to tip off the season.
Yes, sir. I'll see.